Hi guys, Dr. Gretchen here, physical therapist and multiple sclerosis certified specialist. Have you ever attempted to start an exercise program at home or at the gym, but you had difficulty staying consistent? Maybe you're someone who has exercised consistently in the past, but nowadays you just keep falling off track. Well, you're not alone. This is very common, even in people who don't have MS. But when you do have MS, there are so many reasons and symptoms that can make it easy for you to fall off track and not be consistent. I have 4 really simple strategies that you can use to help you get back on track and stay consistent. Tip number 1 is to pick one thing and start small. What I mean is to pick one exercise, just one. This tip is going to be best for people who are having a difficult time starting an exercise routine. Maybe you're not exercising at all right now. You just can't get enough energy to exercise. So my best tip is to pick one thing and start small. Pick one exercise and do that exercise just once per week. If that seems too simple, then do that one exercise a few times that week, or maybe the one exercise one time a day. That's it. And the exercise that you choose should be one that is not super challenging. It should be an exercise that you feel successful with, because if you feel successful, you are more likely to stay consistent with it. So pick an exercise that is not the most challenging exercise and make sure that you like it. Now, you might not like any exercise, but there might be some exercises that you like more than others. Make sure this one that you choose is something that you like, and it's going to be something that is easy to moderate level of difficulty. Tip number 2 is to pick a time of day that works for you. You may have grown up thinking that you should exercise in the morning first thing, or exercising at lunch break, or once you get home from work. But the truth is, MS research states that you can exercise at any time throughout the day and reap the same amount of benefits. Similarly, you can exercise throughout the day and reap the same benefits as exercising all at one time. So think about your lifestyle and your personality and your energy levels and choose a time to exercise that works for you. Maybe that is first thing in the morning when you wake up, or maybe it's once you've been awake for an hour or two. Maybe it's at lunchtime or right after lunch. But if you know that you start to fatigue around 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., it would not be wise to pick that one exercise that you're going to do and do it at 4 p.m. It might make more sense for you to do it earlier in the day. So look at your day, look at your energy levels, and pick a time that works for you. Additionally, I would suggest picking a backup time so that if the first time didn't work out for whatever reason, maybe you didn't have the energy that you needed, or you were just extra tired that morning, or someone called you, someone stopped by. If it didn't work out, you have a backup time. Tip number 3 to get back on track with your exercises and stay consistent is to think positive thoughts before, during, and after you exercise. Our brains do not like stepping outside of our comfort zone. It's very uncomfortable and fearful. It's scary. We don't know what it might bring into our lives. Therefore, we often don't want to do anything that's too challenging, especially with MS. You have to conserve your energy. You have to conserve the strength that you do have. With that said, research shows that exercising consistently in small doses can actually improve your energy. But if you are thinking negative thoughts before, during, and after you exercise, that is just building up that fear and that emotion that you do not want to step out of your comfort zone. For example, if before you exercise, the thoughts that you're thinking to yourself are, I'm so tired, this exercise isn't going to do anything anyways, I really don't want to be doing this. And then during your exercise, you're thinking, I used to be able to do so much more exercise than this. This feels silly. I'd rather be watching TV. I'd rather be doing something else. And then your thoughts after are, well, I didn't do a good job. What's the point in doing this? If you're thinking all those negative thoughts, of course you're not going to stay consistent. our bodies and our minds do not want to feel unhappy. And so by thinking those negative thoughts over and over again, your brain is associating exercise with negativity, with negative emotions, and you're not going to stay consistent with it. So I would encourage you to do your best at thinking positive thoughts before, during, and after your exercise. For example, before you exercise, maybe you purposefully think of thoughts like, I'm excited to exercise. This is going to help me reach my goals. And then during your exercise, you're thinking, I am doing great. I am putting my best foot forward. This is my best effort for right now. These are exactly the types of exercises that will help me reach my goal. And then after your exercise, you might be thinking, awesome job. I'm so proud of myself. I'm going to do this again. This makes me feel good. This is exactly what I need to do to reach higher energy levels. If you're thinking positive thoughts before, during, and after your exercise, your brain is eventually going to associate exercise with positive thoughts and positive emotions. And it's so much easier to stay consistent at something that you feel good about. My fourth and final tip for you to get back on track with your exercises and stay consistent is to remind yourself of your proof. It can be really easy for our minds to tell us all the things in the past that we have not stayed consistent at. What is your first thought when you think the thought of, okay, I'm going to start this exercise routine? Your first thought might be, yeah, right. When was the last time you actually stuck to an exercise routine? Or maybe you're thinking, tried that before, doubt it'll work this time. Your mind is programmed to remind you of those things that didn't work out. And so when that happens, it's important to build our proof and remind ourselves of our proof. Proof of things that you stayed consistent with in the past. This could be exercise related or not. What is something or several things that you stayed consistent with in the past? This could be something you did a year ago or 30 years ago or anywhere in between. Did you study enough in school to graduate? Did you learn a new language? Did you learn a new hobby? Have you traveled somewhere and had a successful trip? Have you learned to drive a car? There are certain things that we often overlook that we have accomplished in our past that took consistent effort. And that is proof that we can take consistent effort again. And maybe you have been consistent with an exercise routine in the past, even if it was 15 years ago. Maybe you have meditated consistently in the past or stayed hydrated in the past. Remind yourself of the proof that you have had so that when those doubts creep in, you have a strategy. So let's recap. Strategy number 1 is to pick one exercise and start small. Strategy number 2 is to pick a time of day that works for you. Strategy number 3 is to think positive thoughts before, during, and after your exercise. And strategy number 4 is to remind yourself of your proof of when you have been consistent in the past. You can pick 1 or 2 or 3 or all of these strategies to implement. Start with 1 and see how that feels. Or if 2 of these really excite you, start with 2 of them. It's up to you. You don't have to do all of them, but these are some great strategies you can start implementing today to get back on track with your exercises and to stay consistent. I'm Dr. Gretchen. I hope you found this helpful, and keep in mind that you can implement these strategies in any area of your life, not just with exercise. Have a great day.